we now move on to probably the most controversial moment of this podcast history. I don't understand. I don't understand what is going on. How has this woman sold so many books?
I feel like I am literally the only person in the world that was not obsessed with this book.
Sophie wants to be that person that goes, oh, I couldn't possibly read that. It's too popular. Have you read this very unusual Danish author that only 5 people have read?
She's Romanian, actually.
Hello, and welcome back to the Bibliophiles podcast. This week is episode 4, very excitingly, and we are going full out controversy. No holding back. Viral books. Red flag or worth the hype?
I don't think we ever hold back, but...
No, we do, because we don't ever want to denigrate an author's work that they have expended...
That's a very fair point.
...a lot of time on. However, if someone sold 800 million copies and we say we don't like it, we're not going to affect their sales.
And there are definitely some of those here where we both sort of felt we haven't liked a book that 99% of the world's population have loved.
And that's great, but we will have full-blown accounts as to why to defend our position.
Absolutely.
This is almost going to be adversarial. I feel like the books are going to be cross-examined, and
Yes, they are. Here they are, lined up, ready for the session.
The idea actually came to us for this episode because we were at an event with publishers
last night,
and we were talking with someone in publicity about how the book space has been transformed in so many ways by social media. But
books going viral.
Books going viral. Word of mouth. Beyond the organic Harry Potter word of mouth
situation.
That has happened many
Absolutely.
times.
But it made us think a lot about how prior to all this, not to sort of show our age, but how we used to buy books before social media was a thing that transformed the way books were sold.
I wasn't on Instagram properly until we started our Instagram account. I was a Facebook girl. Because I was born in the Stone Age.
Stop showing your age. The way I used to pick books was by going on to prize lists. So I'd go on the Pulitzer and look in every single category and think, oh, that looked interesting.
Because you're highbrow. But now the virility of books is like one video, one reaction. In COVID, every teenager posted sobbing videos of themselves crying over Achilles, which obviously annoyed me tremendously because I got there first.
You totally
Back
got
off.
there first.
And also, this is a copy
that is a very special edition.
This is not the copy that Madeline signed. This is a copy that her publicist sent me.
I think social media has done a lot to democratize publishing and reading. It's the democratization of the reading space. There are no borders.
It's not even just about the socio-political, like geopolitical borders of like, now we're reading from lots of different places. It's more about the self-published authors that gained huge amounts of traction on AO3, which is a fan fiction site. I'm holding in my hand a copy of Alchemised by SenLinYu, which did incredibly well in sales last year.
Well, we were just speaking to the team this morning.
We were just speaking to Michael Joseph.
Well over 1 million.
And
most pre-ordered books like ever.
SenLinYu was an author, and they published Manacled, which is a Draco Hermione Harry Potter fanfic, which is the darkest, most brilliant thing. I read it in 72 hours. I didn't sleep. I didn't eat. I didn't look at anyone. I didn't answer my phone. And then they had to adapt it. Obviously, they couldn't publish it under the Harry Potter sphere. And it did so well. That is the democratization that, you've got these self-published authors that are able to organically gain huge amounts of traction.
Well, I must use your phrase that you love.
Killian Hoover.
Hoover's another one. But when I think back to how I used to choose books, it's so ridiculous, isn't it? Because I was looking at all these prizes, but ultimately, who is selecting these books? Where do these prizes come from? And what's your phrase that you love about
custodes,
it?
Ipsos custodes. It's a Latin phrase which means who will guard the guardsman. And I always think like there are many people that have got an English degree or a classics degree. What makes you a better person to arbitrate on what is a good book? Books are so subjective. We are going to talk about books that have sold millions of copies, and I literally wanted to throw it out my window.
Yeah.
But I don't.
And that's okay.
But I'm delighted people are reading. That doesn't mean we're not going to spill the tea, because we are going to be quite abrasive about the books that we don't think deserve hype, or that we didn't get and why. So this is a Viral Books hype check. Worth it or not, because we're worth it. That was our little phrase.
Damn right.
Red flag, energy activated. Yes. Because Some of these books made me furious, if I'm being honest. But I am very much into I am the one that wants to read what's trending. I want to have an opinion. I want to know if it's worth the hype. I almost engage in that as a practice.
Yeah, for you, I think I think oh my God, this is going to sound hilarious, but the phrase coming to my mind, virality, not virility, virality is a massive turn on for you. If a book...
Oh, I want to know. I want to know if I'm going to love it.
If a book is selling
slide Sarah J.
by
Maas
the
over.
truckload, by the shipload, you are on it. You've read it. You're there.
Got
often
to.
you,
Got
to be
to.
honest, I find with you, often
Got to.
you've read it before it's a thing. But if it's...
I'm such a
no,
trendsetter.
but if
Thank you for pointing that out. I just don't feel like people appreciate that about me.
And I would say I'm actually the opposite. That slightly turns me off. I'm much more inclined
it does to you.
to go for like the undiscovered gem that no one's heard of. But what
Can
I have to say...
Can I take the mick out of you?
Oh, go. Oh, no, it's the
You want
pasta.
to
Is it the pasta?
Sophie wants to be
It's
that
the
person.
pasta.
Sophie wants to be that person that goes, oh, I couldn't possibly read that. It's too popular. Have you read this very unusual Danish author that only 5 people have read?
She's Romanian, actually.
so unusual. You love it. You love being a bit
I
off
would
the cuff.
say, no, I meant the pasta thing because the truth is I often have no clue when things have gone viral. I have to mention the pasta thing. When you were around and we were doing some biblio work the other day and I was like, oh, I'm going to make this pasta dish tonight that you'll never have heard of. And you looked at me like I was a bloody moron and you were like, Sophie, that went viral about 6 years ago. I thought I was so on trend.
It wasn't even, it was the way that you were like, oh my God. It's a bit like me coming to you going, have you heard of TikTok? I don't think anyone knows about it.
That.
And I was like, there was a time for a week where every video on your feed were people doing this pasta recipe. And Sophie, a year later, it's
6
like,
years.
guys, just hold the phone. I have discovered.
It's very good, the recipe. I'll put it in the show notes. But I would say this has been quite an education
Angel, you
for
don't
me.
need to put it in the show notes. Everyone's made it. Okay. Sophie, I actually think you look very well rested, and I have not been getting the barrage of texts at 5 a.m. from you.
I have tried something new over the past couple of weeks, and it's adaptogenic coffee. I am a massive coffee drinker, but I have always found that often by the afternoon, I get very jittery, and I always need to have more than 1 cup to keep me going. But I tried London Nootropics. I was so surprised by how delicious it smelt and tasted, but also the wonders that it did for me in terms of my focus.
Because it is known to boost mental clarity. I think Flo's got lion's mane and rhodiola.
I've tried Flo, which is perfect for me, and it gives me a real sense of focus. And actually, as a massive reader, which you and I both are, do you not find that these days you get so much more easily distracted? And Flo has really helped me with that. And what's more, I've only needed the 1 coffee to get me through the day. And the point is, there's still caffeine in this, but it's enhanced by 2 adaptogens.
And we have so excitingly got a discount code for you because they are very kindly sponsoring this podcast. If you are interested in trying these fantastic products,
you can get 20% off. So if you head to londonnootropics.com, type in our discount code, which is Biblio, and you'll be able to see for yourself and find your own flow, I hope. I would say this has been an education for me because I think that prior to this, I just felt that when it came to viral books, the books that were viral are all your kind of books.
Romantasy.
Romance, fantasy, romantasy. I thought I'd have nothing to talk about
But
here.
that's because
No, but
you go into Waterstones and that's what's on the tables.
yes, and in the section, like that tall bookshelf, it's all the books with the same covers and it's all that
They
genre.
are
And I'm
very
like,
monotonous.
not for me today, thanks. I'm not writing them all off. That's wrong. And I have read some and enjoyed bits, but it's just not what I'm not bits. It's just not what I'm naturally inclined to. But when we were researching for this, what I found fascinating was so many of the books that I've read in very different genres are very much viral books like this. It's not just those genres that you love.
Absolutely. We were looking at, and we are going to move on to the sections where we talk about by genre, different kind of categories of books and which ones had the most amount of hashtags, etc. But BookTok has hundreds of billions of views, as does Instagram, Bookstagram. I think we looked at the stats. It was 370 billion views across approximately 52 million videos.
Yes.
Huge reach and global surge in sales. And I think everyone understands the socio-cultural impact on that and kind of the resonation with the audiences and how it's widened genres to new people.
Yeah,
I think
and
that's a
particularly
really
in that
incredible
sort of
thing.
the younger age bracket, the
Absolutely.
influence that social media has had. It's got people back into reading.
But then when we were thinking about this, I don't know anyone listening to this, aka our mums, hey mums, basically, do you remember you would go on the train and everyone would be holding Sapiens? It was a bit performative.
Oh, here
You've got
it
Sapiens.
is.
I don't think there's a house in the UK that doesn't have a copy of this that I've been to. Everyone has a copy of Sapiens.
Even when we walked in here, James, you saw this and you were like,
Yeah,
oh,
our producer
Sapiens.
who is not a reader. was
I've
like,
read that.
Yeah, that rings a bell. And I just remember going into court every day, and whatever train I was on, whether I was going to Reading or Oxford Crown Court, if I was going to the Old Bailey, there was at least 3 people reading Sapiens.
I think
on the
people
train.
felt good about reading Sapiens. I think you kind of felt a bit clever.
It's an interesting viral book. Obviously, it wasn't a social media viral book. It was more kind of in the IRL. But
it was before that time really hit.
I think people are surprised. There is a book called Everything is Tuberculosis, which won the Goodreads Non-Fiction Award last year. And it is about the story of tuberculosis. And it's the hashtags, it's huge. And it's not a book that is a book that has your name written all over it.
I need to
You
read it.
love something weird and disturbing.
Yes, I do.
But it's fascinating as well. It's that historical insight. So we are going to go straight into the obvious ones. The fiction and literary breakouts, some of which you will be surprised are viral books. It definitely surprised me. But there's a first book that Sophie feels very passionate about it.
You've got it.
Okay, let me find. Oh, I've got it right here. I shall pass it over.
This book had us in a total chokehold and we got to it before it went viral. This was the first Taylor Jenkins Reid book that I read because you told me to. And when we read it, it was not a huge deal at all, was it?
Do you think we are the reason for Taylor Jenkins Reid's success personally?
Listen,
Is that what you're saying?
I didn't want to say that.
We'll take a cut, Taylor, whenever you're ready.
I think we had 3 followers on Instagram at the time.
Yeah, we definitely did.
Yeah, but I think that... So this is the story of Evelyn Hugo, who's very much an Elizabeth Taylor type of figure. And she's had, funnily enough, 7 husbands. It's called The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, I should have said. And she now wants to tell her life story through a journalist who she's chosen personally, called Monique. And all I'll say is there's a very specific reason why Monique has been selected to tell that story, which you will find out. And it's an absolutely brilliant, brilliant book. And I totally get why this book has gone viral.
It's propulsive. I love the short chapters. There's a queer aspect to it. It's very cinematic. Guys, Netflix,
Hollywood
what is going
glamour.
on?
I mean, this is movie, series all over it.
Where is the film?
And it could be told in like 7 parts of each husband, as it is in the book.
It's really very clever. It's very good. We absolutely loved it.
This for me is a massive, massive,
And
totally
it's
worth it on every level.
hugely viral. I feel like this started her, like this set her off. Don't you agree?
I think certainly for me, but yeah, I mean,
Definitely.
and I would say that this is like an absolute
Definitely.
must read.
So a book that I was very surprised went viral, and this is, I think, very highbrow. This is Ocean Vuong on Earth We're Briefly Gorgeous, which we both have a copy of because it's so poetic. It's just luminous. And this is a book that I think there were a lot of videos about people crying, but I think not in a performative way. Like Achilles.
Why haven't we done any performative crying? I think we need to do one.
I'm
going to do one. We're going to do one.
I don't think I could ever turn on a camera to me like having that emotion. Yes, anger, but not like something genuine and authentic. Like I just don't think that would be right. It's not us. We're not that. We're not them.
Let's try.
No, we're not doing that.
I challenge you.
This is a letter from a son to a mother who cannot read. And written when the speaker, little dog, is in his late 20s and has unearthed a family's history that began before he was born. It's about Vietnam, the lasting impact of war. It's intergenerational trauma. It is incredibly poetic. Ocean Vuong is the most phenomenal writer. And I'm so delighted that this is a book that if you type in, like when we were Googling and looking at research, viral books, this is a book that persistently came up. And
but it's
not
precisely that point. It's that it is so not a romantasy book. This is very, very different. As most in this section, they are different books. But I mean, that for me, as you say, like you wouldn't have necessarily pinpointed that as an obviously viral book, but absolutely worth the hype.
Oh, beyond worth the hype, as is Evelyn Hugo. And the next one, which we could just talk about for the rest of the hour / 3 hours / day.
We have talked. Have we talked about this? Yeah,
because that was definitely a book that made you insufferable in episode 1.
It was and always will. But this is, I mean, again, another one that perhaps you wouldn't necessarily feel was a viral book. But
no, tomorrow, everyone went mental over it.
No, I know, but I wouldn't have thought that it would go viral because I felt that maybe it's my own ignorance, but I initially didn't want to read this because of the gaming element. I felt like maybe, but I suppose actually that's something that
really spoke to you.
Really, yeah. But it's the story of a friendship. Sammy and Sadie, they meet in a hospital, and this is how their lives come together, split apart, and it's just absolutely beautiful storytelling of the highest order.
And it's got, there's a thriller element to it, I feel. There is.
Oh, absolutely.
It's through their friendship, but there's some scenes.
Yeah, there's some really traumatic scenes in there
so good.
that really evoke a huge emotional response. And I think you see that with a lot of these books. They really get your emotions like right where it hurts.
And that leads us to I Who Have Never Known Men. So I Who Have Never Known Men, which you have, it's Jacqueline Hartman. You have it because I have insisted that you read it.
I haven't read it yet, but I'm looking forward to it.
It's dystopia. It's very slim. It's a woman that is trapped in a space and she's surrounded by women and they don't talk about the outside world. It's absolutely brilliant, but it's very literary. It's considered very literary, but it is everywhere at the moment.
I think I will really enjoy that. I think, look, we both, these books seem to be worth it. But I'm going to now make a point, because actually...
There's a very big book that Sophie has a very big problem with.
I think you're being unfair. Not big problem. I'll go into it. I feel like I am literally the only person in the world that was not obsessed with this book. Okay, let's talk about Crawdads. Did you love it? Did you love it?
There are better books. For someone who likes an expansive, emotive-esque thriller-ish drama, family drama.
You liked it. You enjoyed it.
I got it. Did I think it deserved the hype it got? I don't know. There are better titles. In our next episode, we're going to be talking about hidden gems. I've got 15 that are better.
I absolutely did not love Crawdads. And sometimes it's almost awkward because I feel like everybody was so obsessed with this book. Like I actually feel that I read it when it came out, whenever that was. And I don't think it came out and was all over social media. I don't think social media was much of a thing when it came out. I mean... No, I mean, when it actually, you know what, I can even look. But anyway, the point is, I did not love this book. You didn't. And I felt that it was all a bit, I'm only saying this because she's probably sold like 500 million copies.
Angel,
so what does my view actually...
I don't think you're going to be impacting sales.
I'm not going to be impacting sales. So, okay, it was 2018, I think it originally came out. So it's quite a while ago. But my point is... It
was everywhere at the time.
It was everywhere. I just did not love it, and I felt that parts of it were really cliche and just very convenient. And like, what other person that grows up on a marsh in the middle of nowhere would like end up being this like willowy, beautiful, like it just, I'm like, come on, like you just wouldn't. I know it's a book. It just irritated me.
Do you know what's interesting? We are going to be talking, obviously, about romance and romantasy and fantasy. But when we get to the thrillers and the dramas that are supposed to feel much more hyper-realistic, I think that we are so much more bothered by anything that's not quite real. Whereas you tell me that the princess trapped in the castle has also got, willowy and skinny, but then is a fighter. But then
I feel like you can buy into that. Like
exactly.
For this, it was just like, oh, come on. And like, obviously, there's the twist, and I kind of saw the twist. I'm not saying that like sometimes you do see the twist, sometimes you definitely don't, but sometimes it just comes down to a book just not doing it for me.
Do you think it's worth the hype? I don't think it is.
No, I don't.
Breaking
I didn't
news.
see the movie, but no, I do not think Crawdads is worth the hype. Just going to say it.
We now move on to romance because, I mean, you cannot talk about viral books without talking about romance.
No, you can't. And
it's almost a whole subsection of readers. People that because then you've got the dark romance girls and the mafia romance girls. You wrote down some tropes to make yourself feel more comfortable with this.
I have to be honest. I really felt that this was not a genre that I was going to feel very comfortable talking about. Like, I actually don't. I just don't feel that this is a genre that I'm comfortable with because simply I don't read these books.
Yes, Angel, love of my life. You don't read these books. Romance is not for you. And then she messages me going, what am I going to do? Bridgerton's not coming out in a whole one day. You don't read romance, but you're a Bridgerton-obsessed fanatic.
Let me answer that question. Firstly, I've worked out what I'm going to do while I'm waiting for Bridgerton to restart again. I'm going to watch Tell Me Lies.
Which is another romance.
Another romance.
Yeah, so Miss, I'm so beyond superior. I couldn't possibly read romance. Oh, I only like Pulitzer Prize winning novels.
That is not...
Sorry.
Let me
Bridgerton.
just say,
Did you
I want to watch my romance. I don't want to read it.
I don't want to say what I'm actually
I
thinking.
know what
though.
you're actually thinking. I want to watch it. I want to watch Bridgerton. I love that.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, you're going to say, "Oh, do you like?" I liked Love Actually very much.
And
I
The Holiday.
And loved The Holiday. But I liked
Angel,
looking at
these-
Jude Law, and I liked
But you
Bridgerton
can
and the scenes. I know, but for some
You can
reason,
superimpose these men onto these characters, and then they can be anyone.
It just doesn't do it for me, Higher.
Do you want to talk about the different tropes that you researched and were horrified
Yes,
by?
I did some research because I felt like I must have something to say on this genre other than talk about how much I like watching it and stop thinking what you're thinking. Friends, enemies to lovers.
Yep.
Friends to lovers. That's one, isn't it?
Slow burn. I love a slow burn.
Slow burn. Fake dating.
Forced proximity.
Second chance.
No, but
second chance.
forced proximity is my favourite. It's like, oh, we have to live together in a 1-bedroom flat where there's only one bed. What's going to happen?
Just like,
isn't that such fun?
But when with the tropes, because I'm new to this, okay?
You are.
With the tropes, well, like you do see the tropes in the shows and whatever, but in the books, like, do you know immediately. Like page 1?
Immediately.
It's like
it's on the cover.
I think if I'm going to choose a trope, enemies to lovers. I know that's really. It's
I
like,
love enemies to lovers. I mean, there's like dark mafia.
Like
there's stalker stuff. There's some really dark, twisted stuff. We once did an article for Glamour on erotic books.
You can still find it.
Some of them I was quite traumatized reading about. Not just looking at the covers. Like
that was quite traumatic in itself.
But then I wanted to read them. I mean, that's unusual. So to talk about, I mean, we are in a heated rivalry moment. Heated rivalry has been made into a show, and now everyone's reading the books.
Look, this
everyone's
is not
obsessed
heated rivalry,
with them.
but this is a thing. It's a bit like
Honor by Danielle Baker.
series.
Look at the man on that cover. I mean, can you imagine?
Look at the man on this cover.
Yeah, I mean, okay. So you cannot talk about romance without talking about Ali Hazelwood. I actually have a proof of Love on the Brain here, which is a hardback proof, and I honestly think that her fans would like stalk my house to get it. Emily Henry. Emily Henry's great.
Do you like those books? Like Beach Reads and
I think
they're very
Red,
huge
White,
and
and
popular.
Royal Blue. That was a huge
Is that romance?
book.
Oh my
yes.
God, I'm like so
That was
ignorant.
between like
I'm just
a
going to
Prince
crawl
William
under the desk. In
Red,
shame.
White, and Royal Blue was about like a Prince William-esque figure falling in love with like an American guy. It was really lovely. So in the kind of
That actually does sound quite good.
in the kind of wider part of the genre, Ali Hazelwood has like STEM romance. So the Love Hypothesis is probably one of her most popular. And I love how she interweaves kind of women in science and the issues that they face.
Is that like lessons in chemistry, but like much more for the mass
Modern.
market?
Very modern, but also now.
Yes.
But it's also about a romance.
But I
it's
love
also about a relationship.
I love the STEM aspect of lessons in chemistry. Loved it.
These books are hugs in a book. Book Lovers by Emily Henry was beautiful and it was easy to read. Yes, it's a holiday read. Yes, it's just that. I mean, honestly, I read these books in about half an hour. They do not take me long. And I don't read them. If you were to take me to Waterstones and give me £1,000 to spend, there would probably be a few romance titles in there. One or two might be quite twisted. But, and there would be probably an Ali Hazelwood or an Emily Henry, just because I think they're such pick-me-ups. If I would say to people who are going through a hard time that just pick up an easy romance. It might just be something to make you smile. Some of these books are very funny.
And there are.
The banter is amazing in some of these books.
And a lot of people, they stick exclusively to romance, don't they?
I find that very monotonous.
No,
That's
but
my
people
problem.
do that. I think
Yeah,
it's
they'll
a thing.
read mafia romance after
Well, I
mafia
suppose it's like
romance.
with any genre, people could just stick to it. But
which we never do.
Yeah.
But yes, romance readers are like a whole
hasn't
section.
Ali Hazelwood, and I'm not jumping the sections, we will come back to it, but hasn't she now moved into Romantasy a little bit?
Oh my God, Sophie, you
I've
are
got
so
some knowledge.
in the
I'm just
know.
pulling that one
yes,
out the bag.
she wrote Bride and Mate, which
there you go.
is like Wolves. I tried to enjoy that. It wasn't my favourite. No shade. It's it just didn't work for me.
We will come back to.
But My Dark Vanessa, you read, which is considered a very, very, very viral romance, but dark, twisted romance.
Yeah, so I think
you didn't think those were worth the hype.
No, I didn't. But if I was going to go down this genre, I would probably be. Well, I obviously was much more inclined towards this book because I think I tend to go for like the slightly dark, twisted things. And actually, though I really didn't love this like a lot of people did, I think that on reflection, it was a really interesting exploration of like a very twisted dynamic between two people, because it was Vanessa who was with her teacher when she was much younger, and then he contacts her later in life, and it's actually really messed up. His behavior is horrific, but you're looking at that dynamic between them.
Yeah.
So I think whilst I didn't love it, I think it was actually an important book, and it's probably where I would go
in the romance
in
world.
this genre.
That's so
not
interesting.
much else, but I'm going away. Maybe I should. I don't know.
I'm not an O favorite. It's probably romance is probably one of the genres I read less of. But I do think Emily Henry, like Book Lovers, is worth the hype. I loved it. I found it very funny, and I think that Ali Hazelwood has some titles. There are so many other authors. I mean, I think we should demarcate between bestsellers in the romance world, like Danielle Steele. And I mean, Emily Henry, Ali Hazelwood. Like, these people are viral. Colleen Hoover, you would probably put in there as well. We now move on to probably the most controversial moment of this podcast history. I don't understand. I don't understand what is going on. How has this woman sold so many books? Good for her. If you love her books, I want to talk to you. I really do. Millions of readers are obsessed with her. She has overtaken bestseller lists. What the hell is going on? I mean that. What the hell is going on?
Who are we talking about, Hyatt?
There's no one else. It's Freida McFadden.
The one and only, of housemaid fame, but many, many other book fame. I mean, it's ridiculous. How many of her books are in the charts now?
I mean, no.
5, 6?
There are weeks where it is a Freida McFadden. You know when Richard Osman has a new book and suddenly 3 or 4 books are Richard Osman? There. Which we will go into because that's like cozy thriller.
I didn't read The Housemaid. I actually went to watch the film, which was seriously, I actually didn't really know what The Housemaid was about. I was quite traumatized. I didn't realize quite how graphic it was going to be. I was quite shocked. I mean, it was very watchable, but I hadn't read the book, and you read the book.
I read the book for this episode. I thought, you know what? I've got friends that read Freida McFadden. They'll read it. They'll read her regularly. Good for them, and love them to pieces. And so I read The Housemaid, and you read Never Lie, which is probably one of her most.
It's one of her other very popular books.
The Housemaid, The Housemaid's Secret. Yeah. I am not here to denigrate anyone's writing. It is clearly for a mass market. It is very simple, very accessible, very easy to read. There's not a lot of character introspection. It's very kind of dialogue heavy, very propulsive. All I would say is, and anyone who has not read The Housemaid and is not looking for a spoiler, please do just like speed up.
Yeah.
Like skip the next.
Turn us off for a minute. Turn the volume down.
Don't
turn us off.
I'm really sorry. I read it in 20 minutes, okay? Fine. I didn't really get the main character because you weren't given much information about her. It was very, you could see the foreshadowing, like, oh, she's done something. She was in prison, but you don't know why. Fine, love it, great. But the ending where the body's upstairs with teeth pulled out and bruised and the police officer's like, Don't worry, love. My daughter was basically abused by him also, so I'm just going to do something with the coroner, and she walks free.
How convenient.
No, it's not acceptable. Who allowed that to be published? It's never going to happen. I am all for convenience, easy plot twists. I didn't see it coming that the wife was abused. I didn't see it coming. I loved that bit. But like, it's too convenient.
I'd like to make a point here. So Chaya rang me. We'd both agreed over a weekend that she was going to read The Housemaid and I was going to read Never Lie, which I'll come on to in a minute. She rang me, and this rage that you hear over this podcast right now, it was actually like 100 times more because it was in the immediate aftermath of her finishing the book. I actually could feel her anger through the phone. So she was going on, as she has just done. And then I said, so what are you going to read now? She goes, well, I'm reading the next one because I have to know what happens. So whatever we may think of Freida's writing and the convenience of the plot twist, she's doing something right because you read the next. You're reading. Did you finish it? You must have finished it. I didn't even know there was another Housemaid.
The Housemaid's Secret.
Yeah, there you go. The Housemaid's Secret. She's bloody reading it. I mean, Never Lie is very much a similar thing. What I will say, because again, I feel like I'm doing myself out of a podcast here because I also don't read many thrillers. But
you do.
I did. Well, I do, but maybe I'm not realising. But this is a very obvious thriller. And there are like 2 main voices in this book. There's a psychiatrist and like this main protagonist who comes to view a house, and it's the psychiatrist's house, and the psychiatrist, no one's seen her for years. She's missing or dead. No one really knows. But we hear from the psychiatrist and the protagonist, and she really, Freida McFadden, very skillfully, I would say, differentiates between those two voices.
Would you say Never Lie was worth the hype?
Absolutely not.
I don't get the housemaid.
I don't see
get it. I would love to talk to her fans. I would like to understand.
Is
it just the accessibility?
But I get why people read these books, and I think we have to go back to that point that we were saying on our way here, that ultimately reading is reading. And no, you're not necessarily going to get like smarter from reading Freida McFadden, but that's not why you're reading
pure
it.
entertainment.
And also, it's also about like whatever book you read. Firstly, let's think about what you're not doing, because you may well not be doom scrolling, which you could well be if you're sitting on the sofa or in bed or whatever.
100%.
And also it's how you engage with it afterwards. Okay, you might just put it down and move on to the next one, or you might have a bit of a discussion in your head. You might have a discussion with your friend. It might encourage you to read something a bit more, and I say it in quotation marks, difficult, but that's not necessarily the right word, but a bit more thought-provoking.
This is pure entertainment. It's pure entertainment.
And that's okay. And it's better
great.
to get your entertainment from that than
I just don't think
this.
it's written well.
No, I agree. And it doesn't matter, because
Maybe
most
that's
people
because,
are fine with
maybe
it.
that's because, but do you know what? People say that about Fourth Wing, which we'll talk about. And
Do people say Fourth Wing's not written well?
Yes.
I think Fourth Wing was written well.
I love that book. I'm not here to judge
You can't
anyone.
compare the standard of writing in Fourth Wing to Freida McFadden.
I just found it very, very, very
so
simplistic.
different.
But I thought the idea was good. The concept was good. And I think she's very clever in how she plots her books. I see that. I see why it's
Freida.
quick and easy.
Yes.
Yes. I just, it's that
Give
one...
the people what they want,
read
and
it in
she
one-
does.
Yes, but Song of Achilles is poetry.
But isn't that the beauty
It
of
was
these
carved by the
isn't-
gods, Sophie.
But isn't that the beauty of these viral books? So many different genres come under this umbrella. We're not saying it's just this or just that. There's something for everyone, and that's great.
There is something for everyone, and it is very, very, very accessible. I don't say that rudely. I get it. If you're not a reader, read a Freida McFadden and you'll love it.
There are other thrillers, like The Silent Patient.
Oh, I love that.
That was a really, really good book.
That's
and I would say
another
this
viral-
is worth the hype,
That's
actually.
so interesting. I just think it's just an elevation of the writing. I felt
Absolutely.
much more...
It feels a bit more literary, but not like overtly so.
No.
No, but more than this. But I would say this is I think it required a lot more thought in your own mind as a reader.
Yes, agreed.
Whereas this, it felt a bit fed
Yes.
to me on a plate.
Very much so. I mean, in the YA thriller space, there's A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, which I think is worth the hype. I love that. And We Were Liars, which is psychological. And we talked about Verity, which was quite dark, and I quite liked that by Colleen Hoover.
I haven't read Verity.
I liked it. I actually did.
Is it worth the hype?
Don't know.
More than It Ends With Us? And
Potentially.
It Begins With Us or Starts With Us?
Without question, I think it's better than those
Yeah.
books.
Is it your favourite Colleen Hoover that you've read?
Yes.
Yeah, I think you've spoken quite highly of
Yes,
it.
I quite liked. I liked it. I got it. And I get the Freida McFadden ride. I get it.
Yeah.
I'm astonished
Good
at
for
how well she's
Freida.
doing.
Good for Freida.
Freida. Take us on your yacht,
Yeah,
Freida.
yes.
I mean, how many books can
Get her on the podcast, Freida.
How many books can
She's
one woman
literally
sell?
like the whole publishing industry. Come on, it's not free to shop.
I'm sorry. If you want to
But
talk
now,
about
yeah.
the whole publishing industry, just sit back in your box, because Romantasy
And
is...
just like, shall I go home?
Goodbye,
everybody.
I am just going to move my 2 stacks of Romantasy books so that everyone can see. I'm going to put Alchemised in there, though Alchemised is a different thing.
It should be in a glass
But
case.
I have got in front of me, I've got Akatar. If anyone doesn't know what that is, welcome to 2025 and 6.
Can I say one
Akatar.
thing about Akatar?
What?
Kaya has gone on about Akatar so much that now my mum is even reading Akatar.
I don't know how to feel.
She's
I feel
reading
about that.
Akatar.
I've got Diabound in the werewolf space. That is a numbered proof. Yeah, okay. Let's just flex. I've got Prior of the Orange Tree by Samantha Shannon. I've got Fourth Wing, which is everything. I've got Air Evolution. I've got the Atlas Complex, which is more gothic. And I've got a Carissa Broadbent.
Basically, that's a very, very expensive desktop currently.
I actually say to anyone that is intending to start fantasy, beware. Because with all due respect, you're going to lose your life, okay? You're going to read this, and then you're going to read the next series, which is
Well,
Throne
they
of
all
Glass.
have so many books in a series.
I wish there were more of Throne of Glass. Did I prefer Akatar to Throne of Glass? I'm not sure. Very tight. And then you've got her third series. I mean, you're starting like a different life for yourself, and it's very exciting.
I have to say there are aspects of this that I've slightly dipped into. So like Twilight. Now, it's not, I don't think it's not strictly romantasy, is it? Because it's very much set in our human world. but I did love Twilight when it came out. And
So you're a fantasy
and my
reader.
daughter,
You're such a poser.
Well,
You're such a poser.
or is-
romance and
but
fantasy
then
is
it's
so not for me.
Well, Harry Potter, that's like fantasy, not romantasy. It's kind of got that fantasy. It is fantasy. Yes, and I did love that.
kind
But,
of fantasy.
you know,
It's about
my-
a wizard, Angel.
my
What would you
daughter-
consider fantasy if not that?
It's
kind of
not
fantasy.
romantic. Okay.
Kind of.
What did I say? The other
There's
time?
a vampire
No, what's
and
the
a
one
wizard.
when I said is the bell jar a modern classic and you just nearly vomited on the floor right there? You're like,
The fact that you went to
but
Oxford
can
makes
I
me
say,
sad.
Can I say though? Oh, shut up!
And then you say something like that.
That's me.
Is Dostoevsky considered a good author? I just can't. Do you think so? Dostoevsky, have you heard of him? I think he's so
Not read it. Not read
I
it.
think he's so underrated.
Okay, but can I just say? Shut up.
The podcast has descended into chaos because
No, can I just
I'm
say,
mocking you
I do have
mercilessly.
some romantasy in my hand. Well, no, it's like borderline romantasy. What's Lauren Roberts that my daughters are obsessed with? It's not romantasy, but it is romantasy for her age, teens.
borderline. Powerless. It's not
Yes, and
borderline.
fearless and
Those are-
powerful.
those
Is that
are-
romantasy?
Oh my God.
Stop it. Okay,
Of
you know
course
what?
they
I
are.
wouldn't come to you and belittle you on air in front of all our 3 listeners. I actually think it's very rude. Can you just stop?
Oh, yes, it is.
And also, it makes me look like a bad mother. I
They're
don't know what my
romantic-
daughter's
they're
reading.
fine.
And I only know because my daughter's friend said it was okay. But what authority does she have? But my
yes,
daughter
they
is
are
loving it.
romantasy.
She was really upset because Netflix removed Friends. She was like, what am I going to do without Friends? It's like a comfort blanket.
Right.
But she got hold of Possession and Powerless.
Powerless.
Sorry, it's not Possession. Powerless, Powerful, Fearless.
Yeah.
Fearful. I don't
They're
know what they're
very,
called.
very,
She-
very
And I've
viral
heard
books.
great things. She has not spoken about a book as enthusiastically as this since probably could even be Harry Potter. Like she is totally, totally immersed. So
I get it.
I think that's fantastic.
And you have read Fourth Wing and you've brought Quicksilver by Callie Hart. So in terms of worth it, I think ACOTAR, I will say Fourth Wing is worth it. I will stand by Fourth Wing. It's the
I
hill I'm
get
going
it.
to die
I didn't.
on,
I
okay?
didn't love it like you did, and I did prefer.
Loved it.
I preferred Quicksilver.
I think that's the most controversial thing I've ever heard you say, to be fair.
Can I say something? I mentioned that because I told you the other week that I preferred Quicksilver.
Did I
and
vomit?
You looked at me as if I'd committed a hideous hate crime.
Just don't think you're right.
Part of it, and I have explained this
The
to you,
time
Haya,
of
was
reading.
that when I read it, it was very much needed. But I did raise it with someone very near to me, very dear to me, who is a mega romantasy reader, only reads romantasy. I put it to her that I thought Quicksilver, I preferred Quicksilver. And she said, I totally get that. I totally get that. So there you
The
go.
internet
Just
disagrees with
putting
both
it
of you.
here.
I hope you have a really nice time in your little
Hope you have a
room.
nice life.
I think Fourth Wing is worth the hype. I will say, I think that the denigration of romantasy as a genre is unacceptable. I think that people will talk about fantasy in such like rude terms, but then they'll talk about, obviously J.R. Tolkien and H.G. Wells are not romance fantasy; they are fantasy. But you know, they are incredibly complex worlds that have been built. If I think
Which
about,
is why they're often so lengthy.
if I think about Empire, the Empire series by J. Christoph, that is phenomenal and it's biblical and it's fascinating and it's mythological. Prior of the Orange Tree is magnificent by Samantha Shannon. So I would say, listen, ACOTAR is a whole world that you're diving into. I actually found the first book, A Court of Thorns and Roses, to be very basic. I didn't get the hype. I then went headfirst into the series. Fourth Wing for me was the absolute, I could not put it down. It was crack cocaine. And there are so many readers that would never touch fantasy that have touched Fourth Wing and have loved it.
Why would they be inclined to go there rather than ACOTAR?
I'll tell you why, because
Dragons?
I think Fourth Wing does propulsive plot like no other. I think the others take time to get into. If you liked Hunger Games or
I loved Hunger Games.
there you go. So I think Fourth Wing has got a Hunger Games vibe. We're talking about the viral books here, and I think all of these are worth it, but I think the one that I think is the feeder is probably Fourth Wing, but a lot of people are obsessed with Quicksilver.
Okay, well, I'm going to tell you one of them that really pissed me off.
Oh yeah.
Do you have it?
No, I didn't bring it. I think we chucked it because we were so angry.
Gosh, well, it could have been. It's called The Invisible Life of Addie
Which
LaRue.
I love by
Yeah.
V.E. Schwab. It's a phenomenal book.
She's written a lot
It's
of...
very viral.
It's very viral. That was why we read it. You were like, we have to. It's really important to put it like on the page, read it. And I was not anti-reading it until I discovered an error that really bothered me, and I couldn't get past it. I've never got past it.
I was incredibly obsessed about it.
I actually have to go back into my Facebook messages a little bit because I was so enraged about the error, the book is about Addie LaRue, who I can't even really recall the details. Can she travel through time?
But she does a deal with the devil.
She does a deal with the devil.
Lucifer.
There we go.
Hot stuff.
In the book, the author, V.E. Schwab, makes an incorrect reference to the cover of none less than Hilary Mantel's Wolf Hall.
Which to us is the book that brought us together.
Exactly.
Hilary Mantel is very important to us personally. It's almost like they forgot, it's like a best friend forgetting the name of a child. That's how I felt. I was like, Are you all right?
I was really, really upset about this. So much so that I took a photo of page 302 where the error was made, and they referred to the flower on the cover of Wolf Hall as a poppy.
When it's obviously a Tudor rose.
Obviously,
because it's
the whole book is about
the
that.
Tudors.
And so I was like, this is wrong. How has an editor allowed this to get past? So I then sent a picture of this with a message detailing the error to Hilary Mantel's editor, who I worked with at HarperCollins, to check. And he said, to call it a poppy is absolutely shocking. And then I just couldn't carry on reading it. It totally ruined the book.
I have to say, I think it is worth the hype because it was a brilliant book. But for us, that was like the end of time.
I actually said maybe I need to go back into publishing, having spotted that error. And her editor said, why don't you just go into horticulture?
Is that what Robert said? Her editor, that's so funny. Other titles to mention, other people that have gone viral in Romantasy before we go to one of the last sections is Stephanie Garber and Rachel Gillig. They are doing amazing things in the Romantasy space. But we now come to tearjerkers and emotional extremes. We're just going to mention these titles and say worth it or not because they are so ubiquitous that it's not like we're going to have to explain to anyone the Song of Achilles. This book is, to say it's worth it is the understatement of the century.
Beyond
I'm just going to hug it like a
child. Beyond worth.
The story of Patroclus and Achilles.
The love between them. It's the most epic, stunning, beautiful retelling.
It's a romance. It actually should be in the romance section, but it's tearjerkers because it's so emotive and it is written like the most magnificent. The prose is magnificent. Then there were lots of people that were crying over A Little Life.
To me, this is one of my favourite books ever, and
Really?
and I don't talk about it enough. It really is. Yeah, I know
that.
No, it really is, and
You're quite dark, aren't you?
No, it really is, and I want to make a point about this book because, firstly, it really got to me. It gets to everyone who reads it. I actually went to go and see it in the theatre with James Norton, and it was quite a shocking watch.
Even though you've read the book. Fascinating.
But I went with a friend, and I've checked with her that I can say this on the podcast, and we were heading to the station, and she seemed so chirpy about going to see this.
You're such a mean friend.
No.
It's like watching Up.
No.
Disney film.
Exactly.
Death.
No, but I didn't know she hadn't read it. So she was like, I think she said something like, I'm really looking forward to this. And as we approached the station, I was like, you know what we're seeing, right? And I think she sort of then said, oh, she hadn't read it. And I thought, you know what, we bought these tickets, we're going, and I said something along the lines of, it's going to be quite a difficult watch. But before you know it, we're chatting, then we're there. We meet our husbands at the theatre. 4 of us are sitting down. It's a very, very, very long play. I think it was about 3 hours. They were doing 2 showings a day. I do not know how these actors did it. It was beyond brilliant. Like 6 or 7 hours on that stage all day, performing that. At the interval, she gets up, stands, looks at her husband who'd read it, myself, my husband who'd kind of read it over my shoulder, and I'd read parts to him. She looked at us and basically was like, you're sick. You're ill. Disturbed. How can you watch this? Her reaction, when I mentioned this back to her, she said it was like she felt so claustrophobic, she actually left and went home. Her husband followed her, but then came back to watch part 2 with us. And she had such a visceral reaction. I think, look, she hadn't read the book. Like, if you haven't read the book, you cannot see that. But it just shows how intense the emotions, this really provokes that. It gets
Isn't it amazing
to you.
that words on a page can do that?
Yeah.
The idea that people, we had a comment.
Come on, when you read that, like,
I
Willem,
was.
I mean, I can't. Like, how? I just can't.
We had a comment from a reader on our Instagram who said that they had read one of the books that I'd put in one of our carousels of books that had changed my brain chemistry, and they said, I've actually been in prison and I was homeless. And this book carried me through. And this is A Little Life obviously isn't that. It's not inspirational. It's incredibly moving. It feels like a gut punch.
And I think it's also that the characters are so brilliantly created.
The introspection.
That they are
you know them.
You are in that friendship group with them.
100%.
And then when
100%.
it finishes, they still kind of hang around.
It's not. It was. I mean, the amount of awards that it was listed for, but the virality of this book is the.
It's the people reading it,
it's the
sobbing.
people sobbing. It's the people sobbing
that.
online.
Like,
you
I get
don't.
that.
And I think the point is, you don't recommend those books lightly, but they are 100%
and
worth
this
it.
is without a shadow of a doubt worthy of all the hype, in my opinion. That it has
I agree.
received.
I actually think on the other end of the spectrum, Heartstopper, which is like a bit of a tearjerker.
I've not read that.
That was everywhere on TikTok, and then it became a show, and I think that's also worth the hype. But it's very obviously incredibly different to Little Life, but it serves a very important purpose. We come to the end section, and I love this section because it plays into and it brings everything together beautifully, because these are books that you would never ever think would ever go viral.
Yeah.
And I think my starter for 10 in this section of Gothic and classics is that Pride and Prejudice won the TikTok Book Awards.
I love that.
Isn't that fascinating?
It
won an award.
But it reflects all of this.
I think I have it in my stack. So at the moment, Fyodor Dostoevsky have you heard of him? Such a good author. Dostoevsky's going viral at the moment on Instagram. Everyone is reading The Count of Monte Cristo.
Well, isn't it weird? Because David, my wonderful husband, last night was talking to me and sort of telling me how great a book he thought The Count of Monte Cristo and Dracula were. And I had no idea he'd read these books because I haven't. So I feel I need to read The Count of Monte Cristo. I think I do.
So I love the fact that these books are going viral. They're getting literally hundreds of thousands of hashtags.
The Outsider. But what's the real name? L'étranger?
L'étranger. I actually,
Albert Camus. I really want to read this.
Le
not
Mort.
just because it is super
Aujourd'hui,
slim.
la maman, le mort.
In English.
Yesterday, my mother died.
My mother died today.
Aujourd'hui. Is that what it is? Oops. I looked it up. It's such a slim book and it's magnificent.
No, but I really want to read this because, and I've seen it with like loads of celebs, like holding it as if, yes, I'm telling you,
That's
you heard
so
it here
interesting.
first. Spot the viral
But that's
book.
the thing. You go into some shops and it's like viral books, or you go online and it feels like there's the same 5 books. It's all Akito. And actually, when you dive in, a lot of other books are getting a lot of mention. So I've got here, okay, obviously you've got the classics, but then we thought we'd go into the Gothic world, which is obviously the world that I love inhabiting. You've got The Secret History, which is a modern classic.
I adored that book.
I think it's magnificent,
really,
but that's a viral book as well.
But I mean, it's just, I think there's nothing quite like this.
There's nothing.
Dark academia.
And I would
for me.
say that The Secret History walked, so If We Were Villains could run. Like, If We Were Villains is a viral book that was exactly very similar to The Secret History in some ways, and it was magnificent. And then you've got Babel.
I haven't read that.
By
I do
R.F.
have it
Kuang.
though. I do have a lovely paperback of it.
And I mean, this is a proof. And like, it is just, it's about students at the University of Oxford, and it's just amazing. It's about language and translation. It's fantastic. There's like a surreal
You loved
aspect.
Babel, didn't you?
I read it in 2 sittings.
Actually, it makes me think, and it's not, I actually shouldn't say it because it's another one that I didn't love, but it just is, it's Yellowface, her other book, which I know is not.
That's another viral.
And that just wasn't for me.
That's almost like a thriller.
That was not for me.
Really?
Not for me.
I quite liked it.
You know what we must mention? It would be remiss not to mention just a couple of non-fiction books that have gone very viral over time.
Yes.
Because I think it's important to make the point, we have said Sapiens, but also Atomic Habits by James Clear.
Well, that's
is a
everywhere.
big one. And I mean, it was
Do you
published.
think that's worth it?
I think, I actually think some of these books really are worth it. And I think Atomic Habits is.
Because obviously we didn't do the worth it. Pride and Prejudice, worth it. Lol. Hilarious.
Worth it, lol.
Dostoevsky, worth it if you had not thought.
Or in
before.
my case, I haven't read it. But like Mel Robbins with Let Them, and we've got the High
Eat,
Five
Pray,
Habit
Love.
in our book club, which is, we've chosen that because it's kind of the lesser known book, but by an author who's gone very much viral.
But I went to a bookshop once, and I was looking at the nonfiction, and I picked up Atomic Habits, and one of the booksellers was like, "Don't do it. Don't do it."
Why do you think? Because they thought it was not
No,
good?
I
Or
think they think it's just too obvious.
Yeah. Well, I think that's how I react. And I think that kind of ties this up because I often think I'm steering away from these books because I'm like, oh, it's so obvious everyone's read them. And maybe you're right in your depiction of me. Like I am a bit, I don't know if it's not.
I think
But I do like to find something different.
You like, yeah, and also there's a distrust of the hype.
Yeah, I am against the herd mentality, Chaya.
Yeah, but I think that's fair.
Yes, but
because if Freida McFadden can sell millions, like good for her. But I just there's so many other good books.
That we do have to come back to that point. It's that I think reading
Atomic Habits has helped a lot of people.
Yeah,
I did pick it up. I didn't think it would help me. There are other books that have helped me much more in that space.
Okay,
but it's worth the hype for the people that like it.
Yeah,
I think that's fair.
But that, in a way, maybe that's kind of a lot of these books, like Freida McFadden, not for us. The people who love her, I guess.
She's doing
enough.
a lot to spread reading.
Fair
it's very
enough.
propulsive.
And
not
reading,
for me.
and that's the thing. We've got to look at the act of reading in and of itself.
But we can be brutally honest.
We have been.
And there are some massive titles that we did not think were
And
worth
Chaya
it.
is now going home to read the 7th Freida McFadden that she is still
I'm
not
not.
loving.
Someone actually said to me, we had a chat with one of our friends in publishing, and they were like, just Wikipedia it. They were like looking at me so quizzically, like, why on earth would you pick another one up?
Wikipedia it.
They tried it and they thought it was disastrous, and they were like, no, I'm just going to find out what happens online and not carry this on. Thank you for joining us in our tiny little deep dive into viral books. Worth it or not, red flag, energy
Chaya
activated.
turned on by virality. Me, I didn't realise I was, but I definitely have read a lot more viral books than I realised.
Yeah, you definitely have.
But thanks for joining us, and we will be back next week.